Pause for relief.
So according to the SSA, Social Security Administration, or SSA.gov, as well as govexec.com, and pretty much everywhere else you look when it comes to Social Security retirement, and the earliest being roughly age 62, this how much can I earn if I retire at age 62 in 2024? The answer is $22,320 a year. I want you guys to remember that number. Hey, good morning. Welcome back. Thanks for stopping by. Let's talk about YouTube. Let's talk about content creation. Let's talk about Social Security retirement, and let's talk about YouTubers and content creators so that we can get a better idea and understanding of how this works, or maybe doesn't work for everybody. This comment I received yesterday says, Kevin, I have a question about Tim. Could you break it down? Because I'm curious about how much Tim actually gets a month from YouTube, which is a very valid question. From the standpoint of, thank you. From the standpoint of choosing to retire, or whether or not you can actually retire, potentially side hustle income, supplemental income, YouTube as a additional source of revenue, or a full-time career path, how much you can make on YouTube is always a question that a lot of people want answered. And full disclosure, as I mentioned before, as I did a deep dive analysis breakdown on Squirrel Tribe's earnings and revenue from YouTube and Google AdSense and monetization and ad revenue, the only person who can really tell you how much they make is that person, or YouTube. But odds are YouTube probably won't tell you unless they have a warrant or some sort of subpoena. But interestingly enough, this news article headline pops up on my feed today from Yahoo Finance, and it says that America's retirement age of 65 is crazy, according to a BlackRock CEO. And I quote, "They believe my generation, the baby boomers, have focused on their own financial well-being to the detriment of who comes next. And in the case of retirement, they're right," is what Fink wrote. He added, quote, "And before my generation fully disappears from positions of corporate and political leadership, we have an obligation to change that," end quote. And it goes on to read that boomer and older lawmakers and politicians often don't see eye to eye on how to fix the retirement crisis, but failing to fix the issue damages not only the retirements of individual Americans, but the country's collective belief in the future of the U.S. And Fink added that, quote, "We risk becoming a country where people keep their money under the mattress and their dreams bottled up in their bedroom." What do you guys think about that one? Now, Yahoo's article includes how, with Americans living longer and spending more years in retirement, the nation's changing demographics are putting the U.S. retirement system under immense strain. And this is, again, according to BlackRock CEO Larry Fink in his annual shareholder letter. One way to fix it, he suggests, is for Americans to work longer before they head into retirement. Quote, "No one should have to work longer than they want to, but I do think it's a bit crazy that our anchor idea for the right retirement age, 65 years old, originates from the time of the Ottoman Empire." And this is what Fink wrote in his 2024 letter, which largely focuses on the retirement crisis facing the U.S. and other nations as their populations age. It's important to add that Fink, who is worth an estimated $1.2 billion, notes that many 65-year-olds in the early 1950s didn't get a chance to retire because many had already passed away. In other words, he writes, more than half of workers who had paid into Social Security never got a penny because they died before they could claim the benefit. And he says America's retirement age of 65 is crazy. Again, BlackRock CEO says. But what does this really mean? What does this really mean for retirement age and retirement income and retirement lifestyle, and more importantly, retirement, not savings and investing only, but retirement income, because the last thing that I would want to do would be to retire only to have a finite amount of resources, being money, that would ultimately set a expiration on my ability to maintain retirement, which would then potentially lead to a period of older age and having depleted these resources, these monies, these funds, the savings, whatever it may be, to then be forced to go back to work at a much older age. We can see how problematic that could be. But when I read this comment and try to provide the clearest answer to the question, I have to do a little bit more digging. So we head back to Social Blade, because Social Blade is, again, the relative constant here that we'll use to evaluate these variables being YouTube channels, content creators, monthly views, whatever it may be. And since yesterday, interestingly enough, yesterday we saw a net gain of 100 subscribers in the last 30 days. And here on this screenshot that I took earlier this morning, it's not registering any subscribers. So perhaps maybe no subscribers gained in the last 30 days. However, what's most important on this screen today right now is the video views for the last 30 days. Video views for the last 30 days, which is at right about 1 million views. Additionally, Social Blade, and you guys can jump on Social Blade anytime you want. It's free. At the same time, if there's ever any channels you'd like me to evaluate and analyze, then by all means, let me know. Drop a comment, feel free. But Social Blade also includes this estimated monthly earnings and estimated yearly earnings, which you can see vary greatly, widely. Anywhere from $3,100 a year to $49,600 a year for this particular creator. But I don't think that that's a good enough number to really answer the question. So rather than just tell you what I think, I'll show you what I can prove. And that is, in this particular situation, Credit Karma, having done a deep dive and probably surveyed hundreds, if not thousands, of YouTubers, or had access to current ad revenue, CPM, cost per mille revenue, RPM, revenue per mille, essentially how much viewers or YouTubers would get paid for their views, typically calculated by thousands. And it says here that so for a video with 1,000 ad views, the YouTuber would be paid $18 on average. And I can tell you right now that if you're getting $18 a thousand, you're doing something right. And I would be willing to bet that Sarasota Tim does not get paid $18 a thousand on average. I'd be willing to bet that. I could be wrong, but I'd be willing to bet that he's not getting anywhere near $18 per thousand. As we continue to read here, it says, using Forbes' estimated pay rate of $5 per thousand for top talent, a YouTube video with 1 million views can make upward of $5,000, which makes being a modern day social media influencer a pretty lucrative job. Now, granted, if we go through this whole entire article, you can see how it says here that creating a YouTube channel can be a great side gig, especially if you produce engaging content that attracts a large audience. However, getting to that point can be tough work. So of you guys who are watching and have consumed Sarasota Tim's content, would you consider it to be engaging content that attracts a large audience? I'd like to know. Additionally, allowing advertisers to run ads on your channel through Google AdSense could be a way to monetize your YouTube content. And according to Google, the rates an advertiser pays can vary. Influencer Marketing Hub says they tend to pay between 10 cents and 30 cents per view. which usually averages out to be about 0.018 per ad view. So for a video with 1,000 ad views, the YouTuber would be paid $18 on average. Again, that's relatively high. I'm going to stick with the Forbes estimated pay rate of $5 per 1,000 for top talent. And essentially a YouTuber in a YouTube video with 1 million views can make upward of $5,000, which makes being a modern day social media influencer a pretty lucrative job, they say. However, keep in mind that these are estimates and some YouTubers may make more or less depending on the quality of the ad, click-through rate, and other factors. And some of these factors will include the video, the title, the subject, the engagement, the length of the video, where I've seen some videos that are less than a minute long. And the shorter videos will more than likely produce the lowest amount of revenue. So regardless of that video having millions of views, if it were ever to reach that point, the pay would probably be extremely low. But if we're going to go based on Forbes's $5 per 1,000, which I think is a pretty comfortable number, that means that based on their calculation, a 1 million view video would earn $5,000. And it just so happens to be that Sarasota Tim is averaging 1 million views in the last 30 days. So it would be easy for us to say that maybe he's making around $5,000 a month from posting as many videos as he posts daily on YouTube. So at $5,000 a month, then that would put the grand total at $60,000 for the year. And as you can see, that number is a considerable difference from what Social Blade estimated, even on the high side. But this is also based on past trends and view history and not necessarily knowing if this 1 million view per month will maintain, if it will go up or go down, or maybe if it will average out. And for 2024, perhaps maybe seeing Sarasota Tim's channel reaching 12 million views. 12 million views, $5,000 per million views, $60,000 in income. Not a bad gig, right? Well, no, not at all. However, if we go back to that first number I asked you guys to remember, which was 22,320, this, according to these various sources of SSA.gov and govexec.com, if you file for your Social Security retirement benefit and you're under your FRA, your full retirement age, the earnings limit for 2024 is $22,320 a year. That's $1,860 a month. This means that you can earn up to $22,320 and continue to receive your Social Security retirement benefit. And that's important because essentially, again, this is not financial advice, and I would highly recommend anyone not taking financial advice from anybody on YouTube without specifically doing your own homework and due diligence and checking their references and capabilities of even legally offering and providing you with financial advice. But again, YouTube, I'd steer clear of it. YouTube is a special place, and theoretically it should be for entertainment purposes only, but be that as it may, proceed with caution, do what you want, be safe, be careful. But if I've got a YouTuber theoretically telling me that 62 is the age to retire and draw Social Security, but then at the same time knowing that they're also making well above the limit of maximum earnings for Social Security, then I almost have to really consider, again, consume with consideration, folks, the logic behind the statements being made, whereas most people will not retire at age 62 and draw Social Security as early as possible and then proceed to create some sort of additional income from recording videos at Buc-ee's or Cracker Barrel or Wawa, drinking coffee, ironically. What are you laughing at? But either way, be that as it may, this is what I think. I think that quite possibly Sarasota Tim could be in the neighborhood of anywhere from $5,000 a month to maybe a little less, maybe a little more. And this is only YouTube. This doesn't include any additional side hustles or gigs or any other sources of income that he would receive while out and about gallivanting around the country in the Crusher or the Bruiser or whatever the Toyota Tundra truck is called, and the Bushwhacker Teardrop, I think. I'm not really sure. But at the end of the day, the earnings could be far beyond the maximum limit for those looking to retire at age 62 and draw Social Security benefits. And again, these are things that should be considered if you are potentially interested in following in the path of a YouTuber or content creator that inspires you on a daily basis, roughly 15 to 20 times per day. That's it. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.